Hi guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Alice and this is English with Alice B, where you can come to learn English in a clear and simple way without the stress. Today I am not doing a vocabulary lesson, I am not doing a grammar lesson, and I am not doing a true crime in slow English episode. Sorry guys. No, today I'm actually going to talk to you about moving abroad. So, abroad is an adverb that means in or traveling to a foreign country. If you are somebody who is thinking about moving abroad, but you are unsure of what to expect, what to feel, or even how to organize yourself, then this is the video for you. I have moved countries twice in my life, and I will be giving you my advice from a very personal perspective, telling you about the ups and the downs. Today, I'm going to give you a very real and honest account of my own experiences with moving abroad, how I dealt with new languages, bureaucracy, how I met new people, how I found a job for myself, and how I made a new life in a new country. Now, you may be thinking about moving to another country to study. You may be thinking about doing it temporarily. You may be wanting to find your new forever home, or you may be looking to move for love. Whatever your reason is, or whatever your reasons are for thinking about moving abroad, this is something that will change your life. It teaches you so much about yourself, you learn so much about the world, and it's a real eye opener. So, to describe a situation or an event as an eye opener means that you will see, you will learn, and you will understand new things. Literally, it will open your eyes to new languages, new cultures, different people, different ways of doing things. Moving abroad will allow you to experience how other people live. It will allow you to experience and to try new foods, to listen to new music. It really is a life changing experience. But it is not easy. And it's important to know that moving abroad can be, first of all, emotionally difficult, financially difficult. You will need some money to move to different places and to do applications, especially for apartments, for living. If you want to have a passport and documents and things like that. Mentally speaking, it is a huge challenge, and there will be moments where you question your decision. This is not for everybody. So, I'm going to tell you about my own experiences, what I went through, the emotions that I felt, and why today I can safely say that I have no desire or no intention to go back to my home country. So, I'll give you a very brief explanation of my own history and why I decided to move abroad. I was born in Manchester in the UK in 1997, and for the first 24 years of my life, I lived in Manchester. I also only spoke English. I love Manchester. I think that it is an incredible city. It's a young city, it's vibrant, it's very diverse. There's lots of universities there, so you can meet people from different areas of the country and from different areas of the world. Of course, all my friends and family live in Manchester as well, so when I'm there, I'm completely surrounded by all my favorite people. So, why did I decide to leave a city that I love so much, to leave people who I adore? Well, in 2020, COVID happened. You may have heard about it. And it was during this period that I, like millions of people around the world, I lost my job. So, this was the first moment in my life where I was out of employment, I was out of education. I had graduated just the year before. I didn't own any property. I wasn't married. I don't have any children. It was really the first moment in my life that I was like, wow, I could do anything right now. I could apply for any job I want. I could enroll on any educational course that I want. I could have children right now if I wanted to. I could move abroad. And in fact, this idea of moving away from England was something that really appealed to me. I was 24 years old. I had never lived outside of the UK before. I'd always lived very, very close to home, close to my parents, close to my family. So this was the first time in my life that I considered something like this. And it didn't scare me, at least not at the beginning. So I started to look into moving to Italy. Now, why did I choose Italy? I chose Italy because my father was born in Italy. He was born in Terni, in Umbria, which means that I have access to an Italian passport. Of course, after Brexit, it's not so easy for a British citizen to just move to Europe. But as I had an Italian passport, I could, in theory, go the very next day. So I decided to move to Italy. Also, because having family there, it is a country that I have visited many times in my life. When I was a child, we would go almost every summer. We would also sometimes go at Christmas. So it felt like a place that I knew very well. It felt like I knew the culture. It felt like I knew the people. I didn't speak the language. I didn't even understand the language, but I was familiar with the sounds, and I just assumed I'll pick up Italian. No problem. I'll pick it up easy. So I decided to move to Italy. I chose Bologna as the city that I wanted to live in because it's a major university city. So I knew that a lot of young people and young professionals would live there. So in October of 2021, I left England. I left in my little Kia Picanto, and I drove from Manchester down to the south of England, down to Folkestone. We can get on the Eurotunnel here. I boarded the Eurotunnel, came out in France, in Calais, and I drove from France. I had a one night stop in Paris, and then I drove from Paris to Italy through Aosta, going through the mountains. It was a beautiful drive. And then I stayed one night in Aosta, and then I went from Aosta to Bologna. I was driving for about 3 or 4 days in total. I think it was 4 days. So, how did I feel about all of this? I was an emotional wreck. I was very upset. I I hate goodbyes. I'm very bad at saying goodbyes. So leaving my family and leaving my friends was something that I cried a lot about. I was nervous. I didn't know what to expect from Bologna. This is a city that I had never visited before. I was very, very emotional in a negative way. And in fact, for the first few months, I suffered a lot with homesickness. So, homesickness, or to feel homesick, is when you've left your hometown, maybe you've left your home, maybe you've left your country, and you miss all of the things about that place. The symptoms can be very similar to that of anxiety and depression. I was really sad for a long time, but no matter how sad I was feeling, or no matter how much I missed England, I didn't really want to go back. I knew that I had to go through this transitional process, and that on the other side, I would probably feel better, and that I just didn't want to live in England. I knew that much. So I lived in Bologna for 3 years. This is where I really started to teach English. I started working for a school, and through the school, I got to meet a lot of colleagues. I got to meet a lot of students who eventually became my friends and very important friends to me. And I had a really amazing 3 years in Bologna. It's a fantastic little city. It's small, so it's easy to travel around. I got to learn Italian here. This is where I started learning my first new language. I had never spoken another language before. So I completely loved this experience. So a few years later, I was on vacation in Barcelona. And on this holiday, I actually met someone. I met a guy. We started to have a relationship. And in the end, I decided that it was time to leave Bologna. I had had 3 amazing years there, but now it was time for me to try another city and, in fact, another country. So a few months after this vacation, I made the decision to move to Barcelona. And at the moment, I am in Barcelona. I have been here now for over a year. And I'm kind of starting all the new processes again, learning a new language, making work for myself. Now I work as an English tutor, completely freelance. So it's a new style of work for me. It's a new culture. It's a new language again. But this time, my emotions were very, very different. I did not suffer from homesickness. I did not have that painful transitional phase where I was quite sad and I was missing home. And the jump from Italy to Spain, it was not as big as the jump from England to Italy. The cultures are very similar, the languages are very similar. So learning Spanish as well has not been as difficult as learning Italian was. And I'm here now with a partner as well, which I think has just made things a lot easier. So, what is my advice to anyone who's thinking about moving abroad? First of all, don't decide immediately if this is a temporary or permanent decision. Don't put that kind of pressure on yourself. You should go with the idea that you can come back, but also be open to the idea of staying. Some of you will be thinking about doing something like Erasmus, studying abroad, doing something for 6 months, and then coming back home. But the exciting part about moving to new countries is that you will always meet people. You may meet someone who you fall deeply in love with and you decide that you want to pursue a relationship and you end up staying in that country, or even more exciting, you end up moving to another one to be with them. You may find the perfect job that you just can't walk away from. You may fall in love with the language and with the culture, and you may decide that this is just the place for you. Or you may not. You may spend 6 months in a country and you may think, I miss home, I miss the food, I'm not really good with learning new languages, I can do this job online, I can do it from anywhere, I want to go back home. Both options are okay, but don't put the pressure on yourself to have to find a permanent home or to have to go back to your own place. If you have the possibility to live and work and to stay in a new country, keep that as an option. If you absolutely know that this is not for you, you can always go back home. My second piece of advice is try to learn the language, even just a little bit. You will never be able to speak a new language like a native speaker. So, first of all, remove that pressure from yourself. But learning how to interact in a bar, in a restaurant, in a shop, how to make small talk with colleagues, these things are really, really important. And it's actually a lot of fun. Language exchange and someone trying to speak your language while you're trying to speak theirs. This is a really beautiful thing to have with other people and make it interesting. Find a podcast, find a series, find a movie that you like in a new language and just try to follow it. Speaking a new language is not easy. It requires a lot of practice and a lot of time, but there are some basic things that you can do to help. I actually already have a video on how to speak a new language, which you can find right here. My third piece of advice is to travel around the country that you live in. When I moved to Italy, I lived in Bologna, and this was a really good spot because it had a major train station. You could get on the train here to Rome, to Milan, Naples, Florence. I also flew from Bologna Airport to Sicily and to Sardinia. I really wanted to see as much of the country as I could while I lived there. And again, you meet different people, you try different foods, you hear different dialects. It was a really beautiful way to see the country, and you're not just stuck in the same place. And this could open more possibilities to you. Maybe you'll travel to another city and you'll think, oh, maybe I prefer to live here instead. Maybe I prefer to work here instead. And my final piece of advice is have fun. This may be something that you're doing temporarily. This may be something that you want to do forever. So, either way, it's important to enjoy this moment. Find new restaurants and new places and new activities that you fall in love with. Meet people. There are lots of Facebook pages and WhatsApp groups and things like that where you can meet people who speak your language, first of all, who have similar interests to you. There are hundreds of apps that you can use, not just dating apps. There are apps that you can use to meet groups of people, groups of new people who are in similar situations to you. Moving away is not easy. It is not for everybody, but it is one of the most incredible things that you will ever do. I'd also like to take a minute to be very honest about the most difficult problem that I had, and that was understanding the bureaucracy. Now, I moved to Italy. Italy is famous for its for its bureaucracy, for the difficulties that people have when trying to do very simple things. applying for a passport, applying for an apartment, applying for anything. Going to the post office in Italy was a challenge. And it's even more of a challenge when you're not confident with the language, you're not confident with the systems. It can be quite scary and overwhelming. Um, Especially coming from England, I feel that in England and in the UK, our systems work. If you need to get a document, if you need to do something, there is a very clear and efficient way to do it. In Italy, it was a little bit different, and I'm having a very similar experience in Spain. It's not easy to book appointments. It's not easy to identify exactly what it is that you need to do. You can ask three different officials, and you can receive three different answers. It can be frustrating, it can be overwhelming, and you panic a little bit because you feel, well, if I don't have this document or if I haven't done this thing by this date, well, maybe I can't stay. You will get things done. I advise you to find other people, again, online in these Facebook groups or in these WhatsApp groups who are going through a similar thing to you. And you will find that people found the documents that they needed or they booked the appointments that they needed in different ways. There is not just one way to do these things. Ask for and even pay for legal advice if that is an option for you. Um, and my final point on this is all of the things that I had to do, I got done. I did eventually do them. It wasn't clear and it wasn't easy and it wasn't efficient. And a lot of times I was very frustrated, but I got the jobs done. So it will happen. It just may not be as fast as you want it to be. As for me, I'm in Barcelona now. And as I said, I have no intention to go back to England. I have no intention to move away from here. I'm in a very happy relationship, which helps. I'm part of a new family. I have a job that I completely love. I totally love my job. Um, and the food and the weather here is so much better than what I had back home. I don't hate my home country, but I just love this one more. So that's all the advice that I have on moving abroad. Of course, this all comes from my own experiences. I cannot tell you that you will have a great time, an amazing time, a terrifying time. That all depends on you, and everyone will experience different things. And there's a lot of factors to consider. If you move to a different country, if you're good with languages, if you're bad with languages, if you're moving with a friend, if you're moving to study, which I didn't do. There's a lot of things that you have to consider, but this is just my own experiences. Something I will say about how this experience has changed me is that I am a lot less anxious now. I don't get scared as easily. Those normal, like social interactions that used to intimidate me in the past or used to make me feel anxious in the past don't really have that effect anymore. And of course, I have two new languages now that I can speak. I'm definitely more open minded about traveling and about trying new things, new experiences, and new foods. It has changed my life and it has changed me, and I believe for the better. I'd be very curious to know what you guys are thinking about doing, where you're thinking about going, if you want to move abroad, if it's something that you're planning or something that you're thinking about for the future. Let me know in the comments what your plans are. And if you have any other questions about my own experience, just let me know in the comments and I will get back to you. Thank you so much for listening to my story today, and I will see you next time. Bye.